much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Those of you who were at my headquarters last night know that I seem to have a certain propensity to bring a failure of air conditioning with me wherever I go, which if it continues is going to result in my not being invited many places in these months. To Senator Klobuchar, who I've said from the beginning is a big improvement over her predecessor, and I know them both well, so I can speak with authority on the subject. Thank you, Amy, for bringing us all together here today. That's a true mantle of leadership. It's one that when I was honored to join the Senate with the great senior senator from Minnesota, Paul Wellstone, I looked to him, our party looked to him for that leadership in bringing us together, and you've exhibited that in these last critical hours, and I thank you very much on behalf of myself, on behalf of our DFL party, and on behalf of the people of Minnesota. Senator Franken, thank you very much also for bringing your distinguished leadership to this gathering. And again, we're so fortunate to be represented in the United States Senate by two Democrats, as Paul Wellstone said, from the Democratic wing of the Democratic Party. And every time I look at the roll call votes, I'm so proud of who we've sent to Washington, and Amy Klobuchar and Al Franken. I want to thank Congresswoman McCollum for honoring us by being here today. Representative Keith Ellison, thank you very much for being here today. And the others who couldn't be here, but who have sent their regrets. And, you know, I watch with what's going on in Washington. I was honored today by a phone call from both President Obama and from Vice President Biden. And I said to both of them, you know, wouldn't it be different to have a governor in Minnesota who actually appreciates what you're doing on behalf of our state? And, you know, just the most recent funding that you are obtaining for our state is going to put teachers back to work in Minnesota. That's something we should be able to get behind, right? I was down in Rochester a couple weeks ago and met with a group of teachers, and one young woman, doesn't have enough seniority, the third layoff she's experienced in her 4 years in teaching, and she's applying for other positions around the state. She says there are 200 to 300 applicants for every teacher position. So here you've gone to work for Minnesota, and you've brought money that's going to put teachers back into our classrooms so that we have truly the opportunity to give every child a chance. And as I said to Congressman Oberstar, when you drive around and you see these projects, yes, sometimes they're getting in our way, but the result is we have the first real highway improvements we've seen since Rudy Purpich was governor, at least at the level necessary. And once again, we have a governor who criticizes that, but then runs around and takes credit and attends all the ribbon cutting and tries to make it seem like his own. So I think to have a governor who works in partnership with the leaders that we've sent to Washington is really going to be a crucial difference for our state. And if I start naming everybody up here, of course, I'm going to get into trouble. But I want to recognize our two mayors, Mayor Ryback from Minneapolis, Mayor Coleman from St. Paul. Two really outstanding leaders, and again, two men who have served their cities so well under the adversity of a governor who blames everybody but himself for everything. You know, that'll be different. I will hold myself accountable first and foremost. And you know, when they were running so distinguishedly for governor, I said I wasn't surprised that these two outstanding mayors were running for governor. I'm surprised that every mayor of Minnesota wasn't running for governor, because the job has been made so impossible by again, this adversarial relationship of blaming and denying the people and then blaming others for what's been created here. So it's really going to be different if we have this opportunity to work, all of us together. Representative Entenza, I'm very honored by your support. Thank you very much. You ran an outstanding campaign, distinguished yourself enormously all over the state, as you did when you were the DFL leader in the House, and as you said, when you stood up to Governor Plenty and his attempts and stood strong and stood on the principles of our DFL party. This campaign you have run has been a great credit to you, great credit to our DFL party, and a great credit to the ideas, that, the future of Minnesota, the ideas especially with your foundation principles of green energy and economic development, and using that as a foundation for bringing more jobs to our state is something that I want very much, given the opportunity to incorporate into our administration. Look to you for your expertise and wisdom in doing so, and thank you very much. I want to congratulate Speaker Kelliher for her tremendous campaign. Your campaign and the DFL party's effort on your behalf, Chairman Melendez, and your excellent organization, were just exceptional. And they proved the strength of your candidacy to the state and of our party's strength around the state. You've been an outstanding leader of our state as our Speaker. You've stood courageously, again, on behalf of our DFL principles, from passing the gasoline tax, which has saved bridges from collapsing in the state, which has rebuilt our infrastructure, which has done the things that you would have done more of if you had had a partner in the governor's office. You've brought people together in a caucus. You brought people together in the legislative branch. You brought people together here today with your dignity and your courage. And I know it takes extraordinary courage and an extraordinary class as a person to stand here today. I've been there. And I admire enormously you as a person. I know that you, like Representative Entenza, have outstanding futures to continue your leadership to our state. I hope that we'll have a chance to work together in an administration where we can all serve the people of Minnesota and lead together. And I thank you again. John Gunyu, I've always respected and looked to before for advice and wisdom on the budget, and will look to again. And Robin Robinson, as I'm going to say later, running mates are real partners in these endeavors, and you have been so very much. And you both distinguish yourself by your choice of two really distinguished individuals to your running mates. And I thank you also for all of you running positive and respectful and responsible campaigns. You have strengthened our party. And I think you greatly strengthened the chances of all of our candidates for victories in November. Together, we inspired over 441,000 Minnesotans to vote yesterday on a hot, stormy August day. That was over 3 times the number of voters in the Republican Party primary. And over 24 times the number of voters in the Independence Party primary. Now that's our DFL party, and that's democracy. And we, all of us, should be proud as what we are to do, and enormously grateful to, as you said, Speaker, and you said, Representative Entenza, to our incredible staffs and organizations, to the party. I was so impressed with the party organization, the effort you made on behalf of your endorsed candidate, as you should have. And, we had literally all of us combined, many thousands of people, many of whom are here today, to all of you who committed yourselves to all 3 of our campaigns. I thank you very much. I think you all deserve a real round of applause. We'll need you all actively involved in November. So great to see so many young people. I've always felt so good about being able to give young people a chance to get involved in campaigns. You have to warn you, be a little careful, because sometimes a couple of them end up running against you a few years later. But that's as it should be, and that's the vitality of our party. And for all of you young people who've been involved here, and I know many of you put your hearts and your souls into Speaker Kelliher's campaign, Representative Entenza's campaign, and it's a hard night and it's a hard day. And again, I know I've been there, walked there, and you carry on. I remember years ago, and after one of my experiences of being on the losing end of a campaign, I happened to be invited to Hyannisport by Senator Ted Kennedy, and I remember it was late at night. We were walking along the beach there, and the ocean was storming, and he grabbed me by the arm and he said, Mark, he said, perseverance. It's not a guarantee of success in politics, but it's a prerequisite for success. And it's true of just about anything that's important in life, as I've learned. So for all of you young people, if you're disappointed today, take that lesson to heart and persevere. And the next time you'll be on the other side of the equation, and you'll have earned it, and you'll know just even more so how precious it is. And also be part of a democracy. Yesterday is the 8th time I've been on a statewide ballot. And it's the most thrilling and the most humbling experience of my life, except when my 2 sons were born. And they've lasted longer than any of my terms of office. And they've been unabashed successes for sure. And I also want to thank my own staff, starting with my campaign manager, Dana Anderson, who's been so extraordinary, and my deputy campaign managers, Katie Tanucci and Adam Prock and Marnie Kessler. I thank you all, everybody who's been involved, who's dedicated yourself so tirelessly to this undertaking on my behalf. My really good friends and supporters without whom I wouldn't be here today asked me, and the Teamsters, Steelworkers, Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association, the friends and allies I've been blessed with here in this campaign, whose efforts have made such a difference and the difference in this undertaking. And so here we are, all of us, on August 11th, as we promised ourselves and promised Democrats across this state that we would be, the day after the primary, all together, united together. Because what binds us together is our principles. And our principles, as Democrats, are far more significant than whatever our relatively minor differences are on policies. What also binds us together is our shared vision for a better Minnesota, and our certainty that only with DFL leadership will the people of our great state realize better futures for themselves, their children, and their grandchildren. My 2 opponents in the general election, Representative Emmer and Mr. Horner, are decent men. However, they simply do not understand our state as we do. Unlike Representative Emmer, we in the DFL know that restaurant waitstaff do not make $100,000 in tips. And we do not consider the minimum wage to be what he referred to it as socialism. Unlike Representative Emmer, we DFLers do not believe that the fund to compensate victims of the terrible I-35W bridge collapse was what he called, quote, feel-good legislation, close quote. Because we know that nothing could ever make the victims of that terrible tragedy or their families ever, quote unquote, feel good again. And we're proud of our Speaker, Margaret Anderson Kelliher, and our outstanding Senate Majority Leader, Larry Poggemiller, for passing that legislation in the House and Senate. And the DFL legislators who are gathered here today who supported that and so many other initiatives on behalf of the people of Minnesota, some of whom which passed and some of which were vetoed and will not be next January. And unlike Representative Emmer, we don't believe that he or anyone can magically make $6 billion disappear from the state budget without drastically hurting school children and senior citizens, increasing property taxes on homeowners, farmers, and small business owners, and costing thousands more Minnesotans their jobs. Perhaps Representative Emmer actually agrees with us because he hasn't seemed to have been able to produce a plan that does so either. Or else it's a secret plan, one that he hopes he can hide from all of us until after the election. So come on, Representative Emmer, show us your plan. Show us the money. And Mr. Horner, show us your special interest clients. Now, I could go on, and I will for the next 83 days. Let me close for myself by, again, expressing my enormous gratitude to Speaker Kelliher, Representative Entenza, to Senator Klobuchar, Senator Franken, Representative Ellison, Representative McCollum, Majority Leader Miller, and all the rest of you who are here today, all of the party leaders. Thank you so very much. I'm forgetting somebody because you're pointing there.
Yvonne.
I'm waiting. I'm saving the best for last. O ye of little faith. Because I also have not expressed adequately my gratitude to my two incredible sons, Eric and Andrew. I'm very, very proud of. Very proud of. Although said that fortunately for them, they inherited their mother's good looks and intelligence, so I can be very proud of both of them, and I am, as I am of my friendship with her. And they have been wonderfully supportive in this campaign in ways that you know and ways that you could never know, and I wouldn't be standing here without the two of them. And I am especially grateful to my terrific running mate, State Senator Yvonne Pretner-Solon. And I am, with all due respect to everyone, including myself, saving the best for last. Because I've known Yvonne since she was a member of the Duluth City Council. I remember, and her husband, Sam Solon, was such a good friend of mine and ally in this endeavor right here in this building. Stood up time after time, protected jobs, protected economic development projects, protected the people of Minnesota from back then a Republican-controlled House of Representatives that wanted, much as today, in the same way, destroy, not the House, but the principles of the Republican Party, destroy the safety net for the poorest of the poor, who thought if they just, turned their backs on the hardest-hit Minnesotans, that the rest of Minnesotans wouldn't care, somehow see a small benefit, perhaps briefly for themselves. And in 1986 was proven so wrong by the people of Minnesota. And that's where I rest my faith in this election today, ultimately, with the wisdom of the people of Minnesota. And during that time, Sam Solon was just an incredible ally and stalwart. And it's just, Yvonne said I could say this before, and I'll say it again, because it just, to me, says so much about her, that when she was running for mayor and Sam became ill, she gave up that endeavor to take care of him and stand with him for the rest of his life. And that's a huge person with a huge heart and a huge soul. And that's why everyone who I've talked to on both sides of the aisle, in the House and the Senate here, have congratulated me on my pick. There's some of them slightly amazed that she would have agreed, but that's my good fortune. She just earned the respect of everybody. And those of you looking at the election results today with hindsight, as I am, need only to look at Duluth and St. Louis County to know that Yvonne made such a critical difference in our success last night. And she will be such a terrific partner, and it will be a partnership, co-equal partnership in this endeavor together, because she knows the legislature, she knows many of these policy areas, she chaired an important committee of the Senate, she's worked with people and served people all over the state from her position of leadership. And I'm just so honored and grateful she's this partner in this undertaking with me. And so now I introduce, with the judgment deferral to the wisdom of the people of Minnesota, what I hope will be the next Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Yvonne Pretner-Solon.